Welcome back to another episode of the Average Asian Boys podcast.
Yo, yo, yo.
I'm your host, John, and today I have a special guest, Nick, aka DJ Nineblade.
What's going on, peeps?
And we also have a special audience background member today, Nick's lovely girlfriend.
Yep.
Alrighty. So Nick, I want to know how, like, you're a DJ, or you used to be a DJ, now you're a music producer. How does one become a DJ right now?
Oh, like right now or just in general?
Or I guess when you were getting started.
Oh, okay.
Like, how did you get there? Because we both met in university. And then, you know, when I think of university, I don't think, oh, I'm going to become a DJ.
Yeah, for sure. Well, apparently I did, so.
Apparently you did, yes.
Yeah.
So tell me, what were you smoking? So maybe I can get some of that good stuff too.
I was, you know, cracking something. I don't know what I was cracking at that time, but, you know, it totally inspired me. But no, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, really?
No, but anyway, yeah. You know, like, just a bit of background on myself first, just in order for you guys to understand how I actually got to this place, right? How I even had that thought when I was on crack, you know. So, gosh, don't record that.
Hey, why are you making me edit this?
Yeah, anyways, you know, but yeah, you know, actually, it really all stemmed from, you know, my passion for music, I guess, you know, because since I was, like, you know, in high school, I started playing guitar when I was grade 8. And started with the classical, and then I got into electric, and then I started playing in a band. Back then it was the 2000s, the late 90s, early 2000s. It was like, you know, back then rock was really hot, right? So there was Blink-182, Limp Bizkit, Green Day, you know, all those punk bands, and obviously if you're into heavy metal and Metallica, you know.
I remember in high school, you know, all the girls were into Green Day, and I was like, damn, I want to be a rock star too. I want to be in Green Day. I look like I can be in Green Day, right?
Totally, man.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta start learning guitar. But anyway, no, actually, I'll play guitar. You play bass.
Yeah, sure. Don't know how to play bass, but we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But anyway.
So did you want to become like a musician or like a performer of some sort?
Well, obviously, you know, the kid's dream, right? It's like, oh, you know, I want to be a rock star.
You want to be a rock star, yeah.
You know, obviously,
hey, it's still my dream. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Well, it was a dream of mine, and obviously, you know, like being an Asian kid from Hong Kong, you know, that was not a very realistic dream in terms of the traditional view, you know.
Are you telling me that being a rock star is not Asian approved?
Well, I mean, you can attest to this, man. It's like,
I was being sarcastic, but yeah,
exactly,
obviously not.
Right? Yeah, I mean, like, you know, obviously, like, studies were the priority. Obviously, my parents didn't think I was, you know, actually, you know, into it enough or talented
You weren't
enough.
going to be the next Jay Chou?
Yeah, I wasn't going to be the next Jay Chou. So they said no. You know, I mean, it didn't look like, it looked like a phase to us. It didn't look like you really wanted to.
That's
pursue.
true. They're like, oh yeah, don't get over it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
got some crazy ideas.
Yeah. But you know, eventually, like, I kept playing though. I kept playing music. You know, I was playing guitar. I was playing drums. I played bass for a period of time, but obviously on and off. But my main instrument was guitar, and I was playing throughout high school in a band. And then I got into singing for a little bit during my second year, if you remember.
I do remember that.
Yeah, but obviously, like, you know, I guess, you know, the whole Asian singing scene just wasn't for me. You know what I mean? Like, it just...
No, I don't know what the Asian singing scene is like.
Yeah, you know, well, yeah. I mean,
because, like, I just don't go to these kind of things, right? The first time we went to an Asian singing contest was with you.
When I was singing, right? Yeah.
It was when you were singing, and we went to watch, like, the finale whatever at River Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was like my first time being something like that too. I'm like, oh man, I didn't know there was like Asian singing contests in Vancouver. You know,
well, apparently there is.
You think you have like Canadian Idol or something like that?
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it's Richmond's Got Talent. Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's been a thing for like some time now, and I mean, that's how they scout talent. It's like the beauty pageant contest, right? As well.
They scout them from like Vancouver.
Yeah, so like
for like the Asian beauty pageants.
Yeah, Asian beauty pageants. Like
that's new to me.
Yeah, so they have like in Canada. Well, I think this is worldwide, like wherever there's like Asian communities, but it's like for like Chinese in particular, there's a pageant contest in Vancouver. There's a pageant contest in Toronto, in Montreal.
I guess like some like K-pop members are from the States, right? So maybe like that's kind of something similar. Like they get scouted from the States.
It's a little bit different, I would say, from my understanding, because what happens is that those K-pop companies, right? Those K-pop like agencies or big entertainment companies like YG, SM, or JYP,
Yeah.
you know, they would usually scout talent worldwide. So they would actually host auditions, you know, like in different cities, or
Okay.
especially in the big cities, right?
Right.
And you would go audition, and if they liked you, then they would ask you to come back and be a trainee, right? From
Gotcha.
my understanding. Obviously, there's a lot more details that go into that, but I'm obviously not going to get into that.
All right. So you tried to do a little singing career.
Well-
Didn't quite take off.
Well, no, it's more like I did have a dream, like a rock star dream. I did have a singing dream too, but
Okay.
obviously, like, you know, I kind of was overestimating my abilities. I think I wasn't. I'm
Okay.
I'm an okay singer, but I'm
Yeah.
not a great singer.
Right,
You know,
right.
I can sing decently, I would say, maybe.
Yeah.
Like maybe you've heard me sing before. Maybe you
Of
would
course. Like,
attest to
yeah,
that.
we've been to karaoke.
Yeah.
I know you can sing.
Yeah, I
That's
can
why.
s-
That's why I didn't like tackle you when you said you were going to go to a singing contest.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, all right, this guy can do it and not embarrass himself.
Yeah.
know?
I guess I didn't do that at least, you know. But at
Yeah.
the same
like,
time,
you were fine.
Yeah. But then
If anything, I embarrassed myself at your singing contest because I was like, you're screaming back. I was like, yeah, Nick, I love you.
Oh,
and you're just like, I don't know this guy. I do not know him at all.
oh damn, bro. No, I actually don't remember that. I just
Oh,
remember-
good.
I-
Let's pretend that never happened then.
I think it was Jackie more so,
Jackie?
not you. You know, so
I feel like it was also partly me, but that's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it works.
Right.
I appreciate you guys coming to support me, right?
Yeah.
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 So, you know, that was a phase I had, you know, like singing. But obviously, like, thank God I didn't get into that. Thank God I didn't.
No?
You know, I'm actually glad that nothing took off.
Okay.
In that area, because you know, obviously it probably wouldn't have been something that I wanted to do, like, you know, going in. It was probably something
what makes you say that?
Yeah, I mean, just
Was it just like you had a feeling?
just kind of you know, me, like, over the years of understanding the entertainment industry more, and
Right.
kind of, you
Okay,
know, 'cause-
that makes sense. That
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
So it's like kind of like, you know, it was not what, you know, there are things that are not what you envision, right?
Right.
Sometimes
It's
you
not as
you,
hyped
you-
up as it
exactly.
is.
So you'd have like a fantasy, like, you know, scenario
Yeah.
of how it'd be like, but in reality, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that you don't know
Right,
about, or
right.
we don't know
You know,
about,
you're
right?
gonna be surrounded by the bitches, and you're like, where are they at? Where is everyone?
Well, maybe.
Okay,
Moving
so
on.
what was next after the singing episode?
Yeah, so the singing episode, and then, you know, how it was just, you know, like we hung out, you know, especially during our second and third years and fourth years. You had a period of time where you went to Langara and then you came back, right? So,
Yeah, and I met you after I came back.
exactly. So, like, during that period of time, I didn't know what I was doing, right? I didn't know, you know, I had kind of lost direction a little bit. I didn't
Right.
really know what I wanted to do in life.
Well, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought it was funny, like how you mentioned that you were really focusing on a study, because when I remember when I met you, what I remembered was how much I admired you for being so lazy at school. Like, it was like, I was like, wow, man, this guy gets it. This guy knows what's up, man. Like, I've never seen.
Hey, bro, you're giving me a bad rep right now, okay? to all the you know, students out there, like, don't
Study hard at school.
Study hard at school and be a good boy, okay?
But like, I mean, like, because I was also incredibly lazy at school as well. So,
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it takes one to know. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, you know, I think it's like you never knew that laziness could go to that level.
I never
you
knew
know?
someone could be lazier than me.
Oh my god, bro! I had such a reputation. I didn't know that. Okay, anyways, you know, thank you for praising me and my laziness.
No
But
worries, man. It was,
but-
I mean, like I said, it was admirable.
no, admirable. Oh, I got you, bro.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, like during that time, I didn't really have a direction. I didn't know. I at the same time, I was, you know, to be honest, due to, like, you know, my, you know, kind of like vision of what I was supposed to do. Like, you know, you know how,
You
like,
had like the external pressures
Yeah.
from like family.
yeah, the
friends,
unintentional external pressures, and also
your
the fact
social
is-
group.
Yeah, and social group. Well, not social group to a certain degree, and also it's the fact that just looking at things around you, the world that you see, and, you know, what you think that society wants you to do is what you must do, right?
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
for sure.
So we've kind of gone through those phases. I went through that phase, especially. I was just thinking about all these random things, like, you know, being a translator, learning different languages. You know,
I remember those phases.
Yeah, exactly, right. You know, those phases were kind of like it's because I couldn't really, you know, I was kind of like going against my gut feeling, right? I was not doing what I was, you know,
Really wanting to
really wanting to do and really destined to do, kind of thing, which was kind of something to do with music. I didn't know what that was at that time, but
Right.
I just had a blazing passion for music. But, you know, at the same time, I had forgotten it for that period of time. And because due to, you know, obviously like the way I thought about things and my mindset, it just wasn't in the right place. And
Yeah, you're getting caught up with all
Yeah.
things left, right, and center.
Exactly. And a lot of things I was doing was not aligned with my internal self.
Yes.
Right. So
Yep.
essentially, you know, I went through that phase, and obviously there were a lot of ups and downs. I really didn't know what I was doing. Right. And obviously, like, I was at the same time, I was also working a part-time job, and I really hated that part-time job too.
Where were you working again? I can't remember.
Well, I worked at several restaurants,
Right,
you know, like during the summer.
Banana
and
Leaf?
Like, yeah,
Was Banana Leaf one of them?
Banana Leaf. I worked at Banana Leaf for a
Okay.
period of time. Tropica, I worked for 3 years. I remember it was just
Okay.
one of those
So, yeah.
Malaysian restaurants.
Yeah, all right. So a bunch
know,
of restaurants.
Yeah, just about to just I just bounced back and forth between different jobs. You know, like basically, obviously, during that time, I think it was Tropica. Like it was that, you know, Asian run restaurants, they're not the best places to work, you know.
No.
So, you know, obviously you get a lot of stress, you know, from it. And also that was like going into graduation as well. I think that period of time was like third, fourth year, and then going into I stayed 5 years, right? Because I changed faculties. So I think that was during my fourth, fifth year, and then, you know, graduating and then going out. And then that was when kind of my DJing career started to, you know, take off or start to, you know, I actually launched my DJing career, but obviously I was still kind of like the opening guy, you know, the new guy on the block, kind of not getting paid, and just, you know, because I love DJing so much, I just wanted to be there, right? Because they have like, I'll explain that later actually, like how it works. But then
Right.
going back to like third, fourth year, that phase was obviously there, you know, like I didn't have any direction. So out of my misery, out of my miserable, like, you know, period of time in which I didn't know what the hell I was doing, you know, it's something suddenly hit me inside. I was just like, hey, why am I not doing music? Like, you know,
Your original passion.
my original passion. Yeah. You know, like I want
Your
to
one
do some,
true calling.
I guess, you know, I wanted to do something creative. Right. And, you know, and music was obviously the path that I had, you know, been set out for me, or I've gone on for, like, you know, in the past, but I kind of just forgotten about, right? And then I was like, okay, I want to do music, but what am I going to do? Because like it didn't cross my mind to kind of pick up guitaring again. It did kind of cross my mind in a way, but it quickly got, you know, eradicated because I was out.
Shelved it?
Yeah, because I was like, you know, like I have nobody to play with. I don't know anybody. You know, the people in my circle, none of them play music, you know, so it's like I wasn't gonna pick up guitaring again, but I wanted to pick up something that was way cooler, I guess, and more
Way cooler than guitar? Nothing's cooler than the guitar. Everyone knows that.
Sure, yeah, but
Female knows that there's nothing cooler than the guitar.
yeah, well, I guess, you know, that was the past. But anyway, but anyway, you know, like, so obviously something that you know, DJing now is the new cool, right? So
It is pretty cool to be a DJ.
yeah. I mean, but obviously I didn't, not to get our audience like wrong, you know, like not to make sure our audience doesn't get me wrong, you know, like I didn't get into it because I wanted to be cool, but I got into it because I had a genuine passion for music, right?
Yes.
And you know, going back to my like, you know, that period of
But it's
time.
like also coincidentally, if it was cool, why not, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, so, you know, I had a deep thinking session, and I was just like, oh, you know, I don't want to get back into guitar. I didn't want to do what I was doing before. So I was like, what should I do? Something music related. Oh, DJing. Sounds pretty cool.
Wait, like that word just like kind of hit you, just boom, DJ.
Yeah. DJ. I'm like, oh, DJ, right? You know,
all right.
something. You know, I was
right,
like, oh,
cool.
maybe, you know, DJing, right? Like, it sounds like a cool idea. How about I explore it a bit further? So then I ended up, you know.
What was your idea of like a DJ? Like, back then when you were just starting? Like, were you thinking, oh, like you're like Tiesto, like playing in front of a big group of people, or like just like a nightclub DJ, or I don't know, like a wedding party DJ kind of stuff? Like,
Yeah. Well, I didn't really have
any
a
ideas? Or
yeah, I didn't really have a
images?
specific. I didn't have a specific DJ in mind, kind of DJ in mind. I was kind of like, I just wanted to get into it for the art, right? I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, DJing looks pretty cool. I can spin records, I can play music, I can scratch, I can do all that kind of all those kind of things,
Right.
And I can play music that I can play music to to people, right? And genuinely make them have a good time, if that's the right way to say it. So,
Yes.
for me, it was
that is true. You are partially responsible for the happiness of the people who are there listening to your music.
Exactly,
you know?
which is what a lot of kids that want to get into DJing these days do not understand. They do not understand because, a lot of those kind of kids, they get into DJing for the sake of
Like for the clout, the attention.
yeah, well,
or-
for the like they look at Tiesto, they look at Martin Garrix, they look at Hardwell. And
do
they think,
kids even know who Tiesto is nowadays?
I'm sure they do, but whether it's Tiesto, whether it's Martin Garrix, whoever, right?
Yeah.
It's like a lot. I'll probably receive a lot of backlash for saying this. Thank God we're not at that
Don't
amount
worry,
of subscribers yet.
24 subscribers, man. Like the most amount of hate you'll have is 24 people.
Damn, bro. Yeah. Well, yeah. Don't
No
hate
worries.
on me. Yeah, don't hate on me, guys. But yeah, like a lot of people these days try to get into DJing for the sake of the attention,
Yes.
and for the sake of the fame and the money,
Yeah.
and to be like Martin Garrix or to be like Tiesto, all those big
Yeah,
festival DJs,
super popular, yeah.
super popular DJs. But I never got into that. I actually never got into that. Gone to DJing for that reason, because
Right.
back then I think EDM was only starting to take off. Right, the festivals were only starting to get bigger.
Yes.
Right, and back then, I wasn't even listening to electronic music back then. I was still like recovering from my rock phase. So but I was like, oh, DJing looks cool, man. Maybe I should try this, right? And I got into it because I genuinely was curious about DJing and what it was about.
Yeah.
Right, I genuinely like wanted to explore the art and wanted to learn, right, about DJing itself. So. So I ended up just like, going scrapping online for, for like courses, and, like I was looking up information on DJing, and obviously the usual phases you go through when you suddenly pick up a passion.
Exploratory
Yeah.
phase,
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I kind of did. And I took a couple of DJ lessons, DJ courses online. I went to a DJ school here in Vancouver, which was not very good, to be honest.
Okay, we shall not bring up that name.
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
or else
exactly,
They might come
exactly.
after us.
Yeah, well, I don't think they exist anymore, but
Okay, well, just in case.
Yeah, but back then, they did teach me certain things.
They taught you enough.
So it was good to that degree, but in terms of how a lot of DJ school says we're gonna get you gigs, we're gonna get you hooked up, we're gonna get you like
Right.
in the scene,
And
blah,
that's
blah,
the
blah.
part that's really important, right?
That's the
really
part- that's
tough
the part,
because you
you know-
can't learn how to get connections. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you go to university, right? The whole point of you, like at least in our minds, the whole point of us going to university was so that when we come out, we can get a good job,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
But the thing is, nowadays that really doesn't suffice, right? It's like it's
Yeah, it's
kind
not
of
gonna
like
cut it.
Exactly. So I mean, it's like you see all these graduates coming out, like looking for work, and they can't find work, and they're
Yeah.
jobless, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
because they don't know anyone.
exactly, and a lot of when the number one selling point for a lot of, like, let's say private institutions or private schools, let's say, is that bro, we can get you into the industry, we can get you a job, which is why
Yeah.
which is what is attractive in the first place.
Yeah,
In
because
terms of-
that's the really important part.
Exactly, but at the same time, you also have to remember when they say that, you have to look into the background of all the instructors and their personnel, right? And whether they are credible people in the industry that actually that are established, right? Because back then I didn't really know. I was just like, I'll just go in, But they had some people genuinely that were in the industry, and I got to see play, right? Because
Okay.
obviously I was part of the school, so which is good,
Nice.
in a way. But in terms of getting me gigs and getting me, work,
Not so good. on that
it
department.
didn't really pan out very well. And
Gotcha.
obviously I had to go out myself to connect with people, right? And
That's right. I remember that
Mm-hmm.
you were just kind of like going out to these clubs and
Mm-hmm.
just like just showing up,
Exactly.
being there, letting people know what's up, who
Mhm.
you are,
exactly.
right? Like you
Mhm.
literally just like started from the ground up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And, I obviously, was going out, trying to get to know people. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult in the beginning because nobody knows who you are.
Yeah.
You're just this random guy trying to approach like the head DJ or something
it's
like
really
that.
tough.
And it's tough, but obviously like then finally I was able to catch a break.
You got noticed.
Yeah, not noticed, but I was able to connect with one of the resident DJs that is very established here in Vancouver, DJ Relic. Shout out to my bro. Okay, he was the guy that, because I was the one who approached him, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, when you're that young at that age and you're kind of like trying to get to know people, but you're also quite, reserved, and you're kind of like, oh, should I go talk to him? Should I go talk to him? I don't want to fuck this up, kind of thing,
Sure.
But I was like, fuck it, it's now or never. I'm just gonna go talk to him. So literally, I just went up to the DJ booth and I just started talking, and then he.
Okay, hold on. Let's paint a picture here. So
Yeah.
you're at a club, and is he? DJ Relic, he's at a booth, the DJ booth, I assume.
Yeah, he
And
was
is he in the middle of like playing stuff, or what's going on?
No, he was obviously. I wasn't like stupid enough to approach him during prime time when it's
Okay.
like shit busy and people
Okay,
are
that
dancing.
sounds- okay, that's good. That sounds good.
Exactly.
Right,
It was
all
during
right.
the opening hours when the opening
like
DJ at
nobody's-
that time was still playing.
Oh, okay. And then he's just like kind of chilling somewhere.
Yeah, he's
waiting for his
setting up,
turn to,
yeah.
get on. All
Yeah.
that stuff. All right.
Exactly.
I was like, I don't know. I just wanted to know. He's like,
Yeah.
did you catch him on the way to the bathroom or something?
No. That wouldn't have ended well, I think. But
All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So that's cool. So you approached him,
yeah,
made a connection.
But just so you know, like obviously it took me like a connection from, let's say, somebody who was in a student club at that time, who knew a promoter of that club, that eventually connected me to DJ Relic. It was more like they let me in for free at that time. I didn't have to pay entry, and because I told them it was for this purpose, and he's like, "Oh, DJ Relic's over there. You can talk to him." So obviously,
Okay.
the
So
scene-
someone that you knew at a student club
yeah,
kind of referred you to.
refer me to a promoter.
Okay.
Right for that promotion group who was promoting at that club at that time.
Gotcha.
And then what happened was he set me up in terms of like he kind of like just brought me in. I didn't have to pay. He set up the scenario for me in which I was able to go up and talk to him. So he was like, okay,
Yes.
I've set you up. I've set up the playing field. Now you have to go throw the ball, right?
Fuck it
So-
up, kid.
yeah. So essentially, that's what happened. So like he basically got me into the club and got me in a position in which I was able to approach DJ Relic and start talking to him, right? And then
Nice.
eventually, what happened was we started talking, and then Relic's a very nice guy, right? He genuinely likes helping young up and coming DJs or new guys
Yeah.
to break through the scene. Obviously, if you have the right mentality, you have the right attitude, and you're willing to learn and listen, right? He's willing to give you a shot, right? So at that time, there was no slots, right, available for a new DJ to come in at that time.
Right.
But obviously I was like, okay, I'll send you a mixtape and I want you to give me feedback and see where I can improve. And,
You
and
sent him a mixtape.
I sent him a mixtape.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously after that night when we talked, obviously I stayed with him the whole night. And obviously I didn't just approach him. I wasn't just with him in the DJ booth that one night. Everywhere else he had gigs, when I could, I would go support. I would go visit
cool.
him, and I would go actually, be by his side and watch him and learn.
And
right?
this was while you were still like studying in school and working part time.
Yes, this was while I was still in UBC. It was about 2012, right? So I graduated in 2013, right? So 2012 was my fourth year in university. So, that was when it all started, right?
Yep.
And I would say I didn't really get my first gig until like a few months later, maybe towards the end of the year, 2012, because back then they didn't have space, right? But then what happened was the opening DJ decided to leave, right?
Yeah.
And there was a spot open, and it was just me being at the right place at the right time. And he's like, "Hey, bro, we have an opening slot. You want to come do it? You're not gonna get paid, but the slot's there."
Is that
You wanna-
normal? Like the opening DJ doesn't get paid?
Yeah, usually in the beginning, you're either gonna play for little to no money,
Right.
Because you have to establish yourself, right? You kind of have to. That's why I say that you really have to be in it for the passion It can't be just about, you know, like I want the bitches, I want the money, I want the fame, you know, I want the attention kind of thing, right? You generally have to really be willing to work for it, to struggle for it, right?
Okay.
So
and then what is considered like the opening hours?
so
here in
you know when
Vancouver?
like let's say in Vancouver, right? So the usual opening hours.
I can't
are-
remember like going to a club like before 9.
Well, it's usually for us back then it was 10 o'clock, right? 10 o'clock was the opening time. And
yes.
yeah, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
And then it was
the time where we could stay out past 10. I remember those
Yep,
days.
Yep.
Woo!
Yep. Those were the good old days. Anyways, back then it was 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Usually that was the opening slot, depending on like, you know, how fast things picked up for the crowd, right? If it was a big night, then obviously they would start earlier, maybe at 9, like maybe let's say
weekend,
Halloween.
Maybe weekend?
Like
Or-
maybe
or
Halloween.
Halloween, okay.
Halloween, or you know, those New Year's, those kind of big day events.
Yeah.
They would start earlier,
Sure.
and then you know I play earlier, and then obviously the let's say a guy like Relic or another peak hour DJ would take over.
So
Like,
when would be peak hour? Like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock?
It like I said, it would depend
depends?
on the
Okay.
day. So like on a regular night, on a regular Friday, Saturday, right? It usually like they open at 10, right? Then I probably play till 11:30.
Do they have like a meeting beforehand? They're like, all right, you're going to play at this time, and then this guy's going to come up at this time?
No,
or is
no.
it just kind of go with the flow?
Yeah,
like,
it was-
we got a lot of people here. All right, we're going to kick you out now. Throw it on the main DJ.
Yeah, well, no, it was already scheduled, right? So, like, every week when I showed up to the club, if I'm a resident, right, I would show up, I would play that exact same slot, unless something changed otherwise, right? So, unless they, you know, they would give us a heads up, right? If something changed, then this is the slot you'd be playing, right? And that kind of
Gotcha.
thing. But usually we would stick to our slot. So I stuck to that slot for like, you know, I think almost at least half a year to 8 months. I think half a year to 8 months. Yeah.
You're
like-
at the opening slot.
Opening slot, yeah.
'Kay.
Yeah. So
Wow, that's a long time of playing opening hours without pay.
yeah. That's generally how it works, and right, you really have
All right,
to.
damn. Well,
Yeah.
I'm out. I ain't cut for this. I'm gone. See you later.
Yeah.
Wow, that is some real dedication and passion for, you know, the craft.
Yeah.
But I guess like after you've been doing this for like so and so month, I guess you're like, okay, this is actually something that I do want to do.
Yeah.
Like I do this because I love it.
Yeah.
And not because I'm getting paid, because that was not happening at
Well,
all.
money was never a thing for me when it came to that. It was always about, you know, my love for music, right? I always like, and generally me wanting to, you know, make people dance and, you know, have a good time, right? That's generally what I like. That was my general goal.
I'm not gonna
As a
lie,
DJ.
it was great having you as a friend who was also a DJ at a club, because then you helped me get into the club and all my friends.
Yeah.
And then you know, we also did the classic leave our coat check at the DJ booth
Yes.
kind of thing.
You know the drill.
Man, coat check be expensive. Let me tell you,
It adds up, bro.
I'm a student. I ain't got money.
Yep. Those were the days where we were dirt poor. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are super fun times too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And then
And what I really liked about you as a DJ was I think you were pretty good about taking requests from other people
yeah.
on like the kind of songs that they want to play. Like you weren't just kind of stuck on, oh, I'm gonna play this because I said so or whatever. You know, like I felt like you were genuinely open to like listening to kind of what people would want to hear, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
and for me, I think that always made you stood out from like all the other DJs that I
you heard. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely, man. I think you know, there's this philosophy in which you're supposed to balance like entertaining and educating, right? A lot of DJs, you know, I'm not saying everybody, obviously. There's a bunch of DJs out there that only care about what they like and what they want to play, and that's, you could call that educating, right? They're trying to educate the crowd in what they like and their music, right?
Right.
But in reality, people are there not to see you, right? It's unless you're Tiesto or Martin Garrix or a big time DJ, right? People are, or you're a guest DJ from, even if you were like just a mediocre guest DJ from another, like, you know, country or something, or if you were like, let's say a DJ that was not like Martin Garrix's level, you were just kind of like, you were kind of like a mid-tier kind of guy, right? People are not there to see you, right? Usually, unless you're a headliner, right?
Yeah.
People are there to have a good time, They're there to hit on girls. Girls are there to dance and spend time with their girls, and then, obviously people are there to get wasted, and have fun, right? So in the end, your job as a DJ, as the resident DJ of that night, is to give people a good time. Right.
Well, I thought you were gonna say to get people wasted. That sounds much better.
That's a really bad assumption, bro.
I don't know. It's like
that's a John Liu assumption right there.
Ended up. You're like, the guys come here to like meet the girls are dancing, and everyone gets wasted. Like that's where you ended the thing.
Oh, okay. Well,
all right. So I guess that's the end result.
Yeah.
We're going for.
Well, all those things that I just mentioned sums up to a good time, right? People want to have memories, right?
People want to have a good time.
Exactly. People want to have a good time, and they want to have...
Just like when they listen to the Average Asian Boys podcast, they too want to have a good time. And that's why we're here, to bring the good times to you, our listeners.
Yeah, that's right.
Shameless plug right there. Continue.
All right. So, So having said all of that, like, at the end of the day, like, your job as the resident DJ is to give people a good time, and to make people happy, right? To obviously, you don't want to go too far to one side or the other, right? Because like, you want to keep a balance. You want to keep you want people to discover new things, right? Or hear new things. But at the same time, you want to keep them entertained. So you would play stuff they know or what they hear on the radio, right? All the hits.
Yeah.
So you would combine those two. Obviously, depending on your selection, if you're good at what you do, right, you'll know what they may like, what they may not like. You may try something. If they don't like it, then you can switch it up right away if you have that flexibility, right? So it's very important that as a DJ, you know these things, right, and you balance these things.
Yeah,
and
it's a big juggling act.
Exactly, and just remember, it's not about yourself, right? Because a lot of people think for themselves. But gotcha. you got to put yourself in the shoes of other people, or people you're trying to understand, or people that you're trying to service. Right?
Gotcha. All right. I like these these life lessons that you're dishing out here right now. All right. So let's move on. You become a nightclub DJ, and like I would say that career went relatively well.
It did. It was a period of time. Obviously back then, like, the clubs were going through major transitions, promotion groups were moving around.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, obviously, like, there was a period of time where it was a real struggle, because at that club that I started at, the main promotion company had moved, or the people from a lot of the main people from that promotion company moved to another club, right? And they were, obviously I was still part of that team. But the thing is that they wanted to kind of like do 2 nights in 2 different places, which was a really bad strategy at that time. So
2 nights in 2 different. So like Sunday here or Saturday here, Sunday there.
Sorry, my bad. I said it wrong. Okay, so it's more like they wanted to do 2 different events on the same night.
Okay, that sounds really strange.
Yeah. I mean, back then it kind of like if they had the capable personnel to do that, it would have worked, but we didn't have enough of those capable people to get to get the nights going.
2 DJ 9Blades. That was the problem. They didn't have 2 of you guys.
And it was just that they couldn't get people out, right? I mean, Vancouver, it's already a very tough market, because like we're a small city compared to, let's say, New York or Los Angeles, all those like big metropolitan cities.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to just get 500 people to come out and party, right? For different nights. And
what do you think is like the average amount of people that they can get into like a nightclub? I mean, obviously it depends on the size of a club too.
Maybe 300 to 500. Depending on
on like a peak weekend kind of thing.
Depending on the venue too. Yeah, your venue's your size and your capacity has to match what you're looking for, right? So so I may not be completely accurate with everything I'm saying. Obviously, it's just coming out of the top of my head. Sure. But yeah, back then things were going through transition, and they wanted me to stay at the club that they left, right, to do another night with a bunch of with a bunch of promoters they left behind to run a new night, right? Okay. And obviously, like, the first night was okay, right? But after that, it was just dead. The club was pretty much dead. Like, there was one night where it was 0 people.
Is this club still around?
Not anymore. No.
Okay. Are you allowed to say what the club was?
I will not.
Okay.
So I won't. Well, as out of respect for my old colleagues, I won't.
Oh, okay.
I will not.
Okay.
I will not go into. Yeah.
Okay, for the Fallen Club.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I will not go into the
Sure.
names or the details. But
Okay, no worries.
But
no, I was just wondering.
Yeah,
There's
for
been
sure.
A lot of clubs that's come and gone, so
Absolutely.
many of them. So it's like,
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It was Pop Opera at that time, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it was Pop Opera at that time, and
Man,
obviously
I missed that place.
Oh yeah,
Good times.
that place used to have good times, yeah. And but then obviously, like, due to the change in personnel, all the politics involved, and all that kind of stuff, eventually it got so bad to the point in which the head, like DJ Relic, the head DJ that got me into the industry, he got an offer from another club and he left. Right. So then I was there by myself, right,
Yeah.
for a period of time.
Were you the headliner then?
Well, no.
If-
Well, I wasn't really headline. I was just one of the DJs there, right? That was holding down the night,
Yeah.
music wise. And what happened was they decided to close the night finally, right? Because it just wasn't working.
Right.
And then the club that most of the promoters had moved to, they told me to go over, right? They wanted me to go over. They wanted to bring me in. So they brought me over, and then I became one of the main residents there. After that, and I was able to establish myself there, right? So which was a good thing, right?
Okay.
And then that went pretty well for a period of time. And then what happened was, at that time, I was also going to hotel management school, right? After.
I don't remember this.
You don't remember this because I don't think I really brought it up. But then, like,
Okay.
I was during the daytime, I was going to hotel management school. Obviously, me attending that management school confirmed my suspicions on myself and what I wanted to do, right? Because like it kind of like
So were you like, yes, I want to do hotel management?
No,
or
I wasn't.
No, hell's no.
Hell's no.
Not for me.
Yeah, hell's
no.
no.
Thank you, senor.
It was the latter. So
Got it.
it was the latter. So what happened was that during that time I was still going to hotel school, right? I still hadn't during I think it was 2013, 2014 around that time. So what happened was I was playing in the club, I was going to hotel management school, and I was I think what was I saying? Okay, no. I was going to hotel management school. I was DJing and I was working part-time, I believe.
Yeah.
And what happened was throughout like everything that was happening, one of my promoter buddies suddenly got a connection. He got asked, if he knew any Chinese DJs that were willing to play on a cruise ship. And I was like, oh, and I was like, and my buddy obviously
Like they specifically wanted a Chinese DJ.
because that cruise was catered for a Chinese
China.
market, right?
Oh,
so
okay,
so
gotcha.
he wanted
That makes sense.
and it was an American company, Princess Cruises, going into the Chinese market.
You got to be able to take the Chinese people with song requests. When
Yes.
they want you to play, I don't know, some Chinese song, and you.
Well, I mean, it didn't even get to that level. It was more like they needed someone that could communicate between the Americans and the Chinese, right? Now the English people
Okay.
the English speakers
and
and
that's
Chinese
how you
people.
realize your dream job of becoming a translator.
Yeah.
Well done, Nick. Well,
Yeah.
see, it all comes full circle. It all comes full circle.
Yep, in the most unexpected ways.
That's
But-
right. That's
but,
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Part-time translator, part-time DJ. Man, does that not sound cool? That sounds pretty cool to me.
Well, yeah, initially, obviously, I was excited because obviously I didn't know anything about DJs, like, just
Have
DJing.
you ever been on a cruise ship before?
I had, but it's like I never experienced working on a cruise ship.
Yes.
and let alone as a DJ, right?
Yeah.
So it sounded really cool at that time, right? So
It does sound cool to me.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, we got everything worked out, all the details, and I told my
Did you finish hotel management before you left?
actually, to be more specific, that cruise ship contract I did was part of the curriculum for me to finish.
Oh, whoa! So you got a job and education at the same time.
Well,
Whoa, big brain! Oh, wow! This is what we got to be doing, man. This is where I've been going wrong the whole time.
well, to be more specific, I would say, like me doing that cruise ship had nothing to do with the whole hotel management course. If I hadn't done that contract, I would have just been serving my co-op time in hotels, right? Working in hotels,
Yeah.
like maybe.
I mean, a cruise ship is technically a hotel, right?
Exactly. So
it's
that's-
just a floating hotel.
Exactly.
In the middle of the sea. All right, I got you, man. Oh yeah,
There you
well
have it.
played, sir. Well played. All
There
right.
you have it. There you
All
have
right.
it. Yeah. So
Nice.
essentially, that's why like the school, took the cruise ship experience as, as a fit for the curriculum.
Gotcha.
Right. So
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
I was able to replace. I was able to use that contract to replace my required hours to have worked in hotels.
Yeah, I mean that
Well,
sounds like a
no,
great deal, and you could instead of having to work at a hotel,
Yeah.
you got to work on a cruise ship instead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it just came at the right time, right? So I was just at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and you just happen to be a DJ at the same time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
yeah.
So, obviously that was the big plan for that summer, right? So
All right, great.
So I ended up, I think it was in April. I ended up, obviously they interviewed me and, obviously we got all the administrative side done and, I was ready to go, right? And
Nice.
and it was my first time DJing on a cruise ship, right?
Were you
So-
the only cruise ship DJ, or did they have like a backup for you? Do you know?
I
You were
was
the only one.
When you're
Cool.
contracted to one ship, usually you're mainly the only DJ. So
oh, such responsibility. Oh man. I mean, I don't know. Like, what if something happened to you? Like, you got diarrhea. I don't know. Like on a ship, and you couldn't play that night. And it's like, what? Nobody like. There's no music. Nobody gets to dance. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
that was just my line of thinking.
yeah, I mean, I guess that was the trade-off for to be fair, that job in terms of the conditions they offered, it was really decent because
Like the
I-
work conditions,
like the
or
work conditions and the my status as a
sole proprietorship of cruise ship DJ.
not really, but but it was more like a the way in terms of my status and the way I was treated
Yeah.
on the ship.
Yeah.
Because I was actually going in as a contractor because you may have like people on the outside may view this as me becoming a crew member of the ship, right? But in fact, that wasn't the case because guest entertainers, I was a guest entertainer. So guest entertainers they hire are usually contracted entertainers, right? To work on the ship. So they're not they're actually they're contractors basically. You sign a contract with the company to to do a specific thing or complete a specific task, right? And you're treated as a passenger. You're not treated as an actual crew member. So your status, okay, I know it's a bit confusing, but so basically
You work for the cruise ship, but you're also a passenger. For
Yeah,
the
I'm
cruise
also a
ship
passenger.
at the same time.
yes.
All right, cool. Sign me up. Sounds
Yeah.
great.
So I got the best of both worlds to
Yeah.
be more specific. So
Yeah.
And
you obviously didn't have to pay to be on a cruise ship.
no, I didn't. So accommodation, food, everything was covered. I was earning, I think, $3,000 USD a month, which was quite a lot at that time, right? For an average.
That's still a lot. That's still a lot right now.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
kill for to make three grand USD. What the heck? A month?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Nice.
And it was a pretty good gig, right? It was in terms of all the material gains that they kind of offered you,
Yeah.
which was not bad because think about it. If accommodation and food are covered, they're essentially taking out all your expenses. Other than
Yeah, exactly. It's like what are you paying for?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And they wash your clothes for you for free.
Really?
Everything. Yeah.
You live like a king. They wash your clothes?
Well, yep, they did. So, yeah, basically my job as a DJ was to play in the club every night.
That's
So
right.
I was working pretty much. I was working 7 days a week.
Yeah,
Right.
because people ain't got time to take a break
Yeah.
from partying. when
Exactly. Well, I mean, like it's just basically, I was in charge of the nightclub.
Yeah.
In the cruise ship. So I had to handle everything from the lighting to the
Oh, wow.
to the
like
obviously
the-
the music and
What
the
about
sound.
like the people there? Did you have to like manage any people?
Okay, so no, I didn't. It was just the fact that I was the one in charge of,
make
playing the audio,
yeah, make
some
sure the lights are on,
the lights
everything's
are on.
connected.
It depends because like the production staff on board, like they were mainly in charge of the shows, the stages,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And if there's anything wrong in the nightclub or if there are events going on in the nightclub, then I would have production staff with me.
Yeah.
But then in general, if it was just a regular night, then I would have just, it would be just me, right?
Got it.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any crazy incidences or like moments from being a nightclub DJ at the ship? I don't know. Anyone like try to like attack you, throw beer at you?
Oh yeah, you know, like obviously, like
I don't know what the Chinese audience is like, but
well,
hopefully
they're
not a picky bunch.
they, obviously because a majority of clientele on the Chinese cruises, there are select Chinese cruises where there's more younger people and they would come up.
Okay.
But obviously some of them were incredibly rude, right? And some of them were really nice, and obviously some.
What was the demographic like? Kind of all over the place.
It mainly compromised of older people, or families, right?
Okay.
So there were cruises in which you had a bunch of richer, younger Chinese that were on board.
Yeah.
But that was not, that was seldom the case throughout the
Well, I
contract.
guess I was wondering, like,
So-
do older people go to nightclubs?
Well, that's the thing, they don't. So,
Oh, okay.
well, I mean, some I would say probably,
Right.
but then like a majority of those 4 months on the cruise, the club was empty.
Okay, gotcha.
It wasn't very busy, right?
Right,
Or
okay.
it was, or it depended. But obviously there would be a couple of nights where I have a bunch of young guys, young Chinese people, rich
Yeah.
as fuck, by the way, like on the
sure.
cruise, and obviously
Yeah.
I was
When they start throwing money around, maybe you'll like catch a dollar bill or two.
Yeah, and I'd be obviously I know the Chinese crowd to a certain degree because I played for the Chinese crowd in Vancouver as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, I happen to obviously be playing, and they're like telling me, hey, your music's not high enough. Like they say
Like,
high,
not loud?
No, it's not energetic enough. That's what they say.
Okay.
And
It's not hitting 200 beats per minute.
Yeah, I guess and I was playing Gangnam Style,
Right.
And then they were saying that's
That's
no
pretty high energy. I don't know. I don't know what they're on. That's pretty high energy to me.
I don't know, man. Like
Yeah.
it's weird, but basically, they had many weird requests.
Okay.
If that's the right way to put it.
What's
So,
like a weird request that you had?
like not weird. Well, to rephrase it, it's more they had
Unusual.
weird. They had unusual complaints. That's
Unusual
the,
complaints.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was some like unusual complaints?
So
Like,
some unusual complaints was like your music is not energetic enough when I was already going at 160 beats per minute, or I was playing some of the
so
biggest.
damn fast.
I was playing like some of the biggest hits
Yeah.
in the clubs at that period of time.
Yeah.
Like the most energetic banging hits, and they were saying it's not energetic enough, and I'm like, oh, what really? so but
just
but
cap.
as you like
This is when you hit like that the 2x speed button. You want fast, motherfucker? I'll show you fast.
oh yeah, I guess that works.
They should have hired me instead. I know what's up.
Yeah, you should have taken my place. I would have been so glad if you took my
Yeah,
place.
no, I would have hated it.
But yeah,
Okay.
I believe it was, as you progress throughout the contract, you start to develop really thick skin, right? Because like
Right.
like you're gonna have to deal with certain clientele that are very, that are very hard to deal with,
Yeah.
and especially when you're in the entertainment. Right, when you're handling entertainment, it wasn't just me and my department. It was like everybody else,
everyone,
like
right?
all the crew staff.
I mean, I
all
guess
the,
when
you know-
you're a rich Chinese guy, it's like you're used to having everything, right? So
Well, here's the thing. It's like Princess was only entering the Chinese market at that period of time. So they were only getting to know the Chinese market and what they liked, right? So everybody was learning as they went, right? So it was a very, I would say like it was very like exciting, but at the same time also very
Frightening.
very well, not frightening, but
challenging.
it was also challenging. Yes, that's the right word. So like because like there's culture differences, there's difference in etiquette. Basically the way Chinese people would do things, like mainland Chinese people perceive things, is not the same way as the way Westerners or the Western world would perceive things, right? So two different cultures kind of like trying to work together, kind of thing,
Right.
Or Western culture trying to appease the Chinese market, right? for business, right?
Okay.
So you know how it all goes down, especially when cultures kind of clash, and it's like the way things are done, the way they do it is not the way they perceive it to be done, that kind of thing.
So was the crew like mostly Westerners then?
No, like it was like very multicultural. So
Okay.
you'd have Chinese people on board. You'd have like a lot of Filipinos, especially a lot of Filipinos. You'd have you'd have people from all over the world, whether it's from the States, Canada, Scotland, Ireland, UK, Britain, France, like a lot of many different types of people, which is what makes cruise ship life very interesting because
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, because you deal with a lot of different personalities,
Yeah.
right? So
Did you ever have any like, I don't know, culture clashes or just like personality clashes working with other people on a cruise ship?
Yeah, of course I did. Everybody did because you're working with pretty much mostly the same group of people, right? Because like you guys are on the ship, off the ship. Well, you guys
I guess
are,
you're working 24/7.
Yeah,
too, right?
you're working.
Like, it's not like you have rest days, It's like, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
ship's not running today. We're taking a break.
Yeah, it's like you're working on an island, right? It's like you're working on an island with the same group of people for that period of time. So depending on, obviously, there are people that end their contract at a certain period of time, they leave, and then a new person comes, that kind of thing. But for the most part, the main crew stays together, right? Because
Yeah.
like you're mainly contracted for that season or that period. So people generally would, look at each other, like, face each other every day, right? You
Yeah.
see the same people every day, right? So yeah, that was one aspect of cruise ship life that was interesting, but also was a major reason why I didn't want to continue cruise ship life.
Yeah, I guess it's hard when you're like stuck with your coworkers 24/7, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have to be. Obviously, you could just retreat to your room, which I did a lot of the time, right? But
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like there's a lot of, obviously, because when you're with the same group of people all the time, there's a lot of drama, politics, and
Did
you
they
know,
did it give you like a nice, reasonably nice space on the ship, or were they like, you work here, we'll give you the shittiest?
Yeah, no, like, because I was a guest entertainer, I was a contractor, and I was treated like a passenger, right? So I got a nice room. I got a pretty decently sized room.
Nice.
That was enough for me, right? So maybe my room wasn't as big as maybe some of the captains or whatever.
Or like
Obviously,
the VIPs.
yeah, but then, but I still had a
it's
decently
decent.
sized room, yeah, and it was to myself, and
Yeah.
it was great, right? Like, I mean, like I said, they treated me well, right? In terms of like they gave me the right nice accommodation. I had access to all the fine dining, all the best restaurants on board, right? So I could go anytime I wanted.
Could you eat at the restaurant for free?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I had access to all the restaurants. Even
now
I
you're
have.
speaking my language here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I had the same. Privileges as passengers would.
Yes.
And at the same time, I had the same privileges that crew members would. So I was able to do what the crew does, but also what the passengers did, right?
Okay, this might sound like a dumb question, but so what are some things that a passenger could do that a crew cannot?
Yeah, so
Like what was
Crew-
like passenger benefits?
so like crew members can only go to certain restaurants at certain periods of time.
Yeah.
And there are, depending on your
For their food.
Yeah, for their food. And there were certain places they could not go to. And obviously depending on what your job description
Why is it that there's certain places that they can't go to?
because they're I guess it's their position or their status.
Yeah.
Let's say if you're like a waiter,
Like what, the cleaning lady can't go to like the 5-star restaurant?
yeah, they can't. So from what I remember,
That
it's
sucks.
like yeah. So because like don't forget, like I was technically a passenger, right? So I had access to all passenger privileges.
That's right. That's right.
And crew members, depending on their positions, like if they were crew staff or they were the more elite level, staff
Yeah.
members, they could access.
How would these restaurants know like who's who? Like do you carry like I don't know, badges or some sort of like identification around with you?
Well, yeah, they would, you would have your badge. You're supposed to have your badge, right?
Yeah.
And also is the fact that, people know who you are on the ship. They would notice who you are, right? So like
That's
there-
true.
there's a lot of like,
Okay.
backstabbing and spying and
Okay.
surveillance, on the ship. So like you could, let's say if a crew staff, let's say a crew staff member was eating at a restaurant that she at a time that she was not supposed to eat at,
Yeah.
let's say peak hour, right, when everybody's having dinner, right? Then, for instance, let's say people in the food and beverage department, the supervisor would notice because they know who she is, right? Something, and then they would report to upper management.
They'd rat you out.
Yeah, they rat you out. Basically, they would snitch on you, rat you out, and then basically immediately, you know, your supervisor or that lady's supervisor would come and fetch her away.
Gotcha.
And then she would obviously be disciplined or you know whatnot, right? So
yeah, given the stern talking to.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of drama.
Publicly being. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of politics. You know, when it comes to, you know, all kinds of industries, right? It is similar in that way, but on a cruise ship in particular, because you're enclosed like on an island, right? So it's like, you know, it could get really, you know, I don't know how to say it. It's like very.
Well, it's like, you know, you get stuck with people in an enclosed space long enough, you're going to go crazy. Just like as everyone who has experienced COVID has already like kind of, you know, can tell you. It's a little crazy.
It was not a very good culture to be in for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Right. So I really respect. Well, I mean, like a lot of the people that end up working in cruise ships for a long time, I really respect those people because they are able to take that kind of lifestyle, right? Which I know I couldn't take long term, and I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so you know you worked at a cruise ship as a DJ. Overall, pretty good experience.
Yeah, but
not something that you can do for life.
No, not something that I wanted to do again because after I finished that contract, I was offered I think 2 or 3 more contracts to go to the I think the Caribbean and to go to other places.
And you're like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. So.
All right, cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. Like, that's really interesting. I don't know anyone else who has worked at a cruise ship before, let alone a cruise ship DJ. So that's super cool.
Nice.
I want to finish things off by talking about your music production career that's recently kind of taking off right now. So you're a music producer now, and you've been you know making the sick beats, all that stuff. All that good stuff.
The fast beats,
The fast beats, you know, the energetic beats, we shall call them. Yeah. So do you want to just quickly talk about that and what that process has been like?
Yeah. You know, like obviously the cruise ship. After the cruise ship, there was a gap in my DJing. There was a big phase of my DJing career which I didn't talk about.
Yeah.
But then let's say
maybe stay tuned if Nick returns as a recurring guest. We'll get that story one day.
Yep, watch out. Stay tuned. Anyways, you know, I worked in China, like not at sea but on land, for like a year and a half approximately, and after experiencing that, I decided to come back to Vancouver, right? And you know. I had a lot of like soul searching to do. I obviously had to rethink all my purposes in life and everything that I did.
I was so glad you came back. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, man, when's Nick coming back? I don't know.
You hadn't seen me in a while.
Man, it's been a while, man. It's like, I didn't think it was going to be away for so long.
I know you missed me. I love you too, bro.
I kind of miss him, you know? I'm just saying. It's been a long time, but continue.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll cut this part out. No, I'm kidding.
But anyways, you know, obviously, like that was probably one of the low points in my life. Like I had
soul searching.
Yeah, I had to soul search. I had to rethink, like, you know, basically my mindset and everything that I was going for, and whether that was really what I wanted to do, and you know, yada yada.
Yeah, and, I know I can relate right now, right? Because like that's kind of what I'm going through right now. You know, being an unemployed bum for like most of this year, definitely had a lot of time to do some soul searching.
Yeah,
not a lot of fun. Definitely, yeah. So I can totally relate to that.
Yeah, sometimes that's what you need, right? To really rethink, you know, because if you're always go all the time, right? You don't have
you never stop to think about
what you're doing,
what you want, or what you want.
Yeah, what you want or what you're doing, or whether what you're doing is what you really want, right?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what happened to me, right? It's like when I didn't have to work anymore and I couldn't travel because of COVID.
Yeah,
which is what I would normally do if I didn't have to work. Yeah, I was just like, you know, I had to stop for the first time and ask myself, what did I want to do?
For sure.
And or like, what if I was to live a semi-retired life, what would I enjoy doing?
Exactly.
And I never took the time to think about that because it was just like, all right, I'm gonna work, and then when I don't have to work, I'm gonna go out and get drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like the life to me.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the working life.
For me, I knew this wasn't, you know, the way I was approaching my music career wasn't, didn't exactly fit what I wanted to do. And I think it took me a long time to come to that realization.
It like wasn't sustainable, right? Like you can't see yourself doing something like this for like the next 10, 20, 30 years.
Exactly. And it wasn't going to get me anywhere anyway.
Yeah,
like
okay.
I had already done everything at that level. I was plateaued. I plateaued basically.
Yeah.
Right. And, the only way to get my music to the next level was music production. Right. And, and it had always been something that I wanted to do for a very long time. But obviously because of all the distractions with DJing and all that kind of stuff and the way I approach my mindset and the way I approach things, it wasn't working, right? It left me no room to actually develop myself and in that skill set, right? So I decided to step away from DJing. I decided to quit, right, for a period of time.
That's right.
Not that I won't, not to say that I won't ever DJ again.
I need you to DJ at my future wedding, my future...
I stopped DJing weddings altogether too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
true.
in the end, it was basically like it was a period of reflection, and especially I think the timing couldn't have been better when COVID hit, right? If I had still been working in that industry, imagine.
Been rough. Yeah.
It would have been pretty rough. So
no gigs tonight. Oh, well, that sucks.
Yep. So, I was fortunate that I was, prior to that happening, I was able to get my life together and I was able to find a decent job in which I didn't, that didn't stress me out, whilst I could, which enabled me to focus on my craft,
doing what you want to do.
Do what I want to do.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, and
that's awesome, man.
Exactly.
All right, so COVID comes around, and you got some extra time. You're working on the music production. So how do you go from making some music to like selling it, like because you're signed with like a record or label?
Yeah.
What, I have no idea how this stuff works, but I know you're signed with someone, and then they help you distribute your music, I think.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's I didn't sell my soul to someone, right? It's more like
that's good to know.
It's not like I signed as an artist to like an agency or a label. I signed my tracks to labels, right?
So like the labels technically own your tracks.
Yeah, they own the master, so the original copy for like period of 5 to 15 years about.
Okay.
So they take on the track, they sign it, and then they own the masters, and so they're in charge of marketing it, distributing it, getting it released on all the platforms.
So it's like technically you don't own these songs anymore. Is that how it works?
Well, yeah. Well, technically the original master file they own.
Yes.
Right. But but
if you were to ever want to like tinker around with something, I don't know. Like
well, it's more like there's a term, right? And after that term ends, you can decide what you want to do with that master, right? So, I mean, but at the end of the day, it's under, like, it's your work, right? It's just that they're retaining control over the copy, the original copy, so that they can distribute it or they can do what they need to do with it, right? So, but the song is still under your name, right?
Gotcha.
So,
and I can see you've been pretty busy with that. You're, like, producing, like, a new song, like, at least once a month? Not more frequently.
Well, I've been releasing once a month.
Yeah.
Like as of recent. So I signed my first track, my first album, my mini album EP, last November. No, last December. Yeah.
Okay.
And then ever since then, I think I took a 3-month gap because I was just trying to figure stuff out. And then I started releasing again in April.
Nice.
And then ever since then, I think I've released, five tracks, 6 tracks, and I have another 3 tracks coming out in the fall.
Oh, nice. So, got a couple lined up ahead.
Yeah, yep. And I'm still working. I have a bunch of projects I'm working on right now, which I have yet to reveal, but hopefully you guys will be able to hear soon. So,
all right, good stuff. Nick, tell us where we can find your music.
If you can probably I'm on Instagram, right? I'm mainly on Instagram, and obviously on Spotify you can find my music on Spotify mainly. Just type in 9Blade. Yeah. Number 9 BLADE. Okay. That's my DJ name. And
okay, so no DJ in the front. No
DJ. No DJ. Okay, so it's
9Blade on Spotify and Instagram.
Instagram.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's good stuff, man. Thanks so much for coming on to share your experiences with being a DJ. I mean, you're the only DJ I know, so I have no idea how these things in the entertainment industry works, and I think it's been really interesting for me to hear from your point of view.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, John, for having me. And like, that's only one segment of my story that I told. So, maybe if you get me back on the podcast, maybe at a later date,
We'll see how many likes we get on YouTube.
Yes, how many likes I get. I'll probably get no likes because of what I said earlier, but
no. But yeah, don't forget to check out Nick's stuff, and I will definitely have the links in the description below and all that fun stuff. And yeah, thank you again for coming on, and thank you audience members for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace out.